Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our second day of SciLang. Okay, so yesterday, just to wrap up, yesterday our focus was on multilingualism and academic research. So we had contributions from scientists who do research on multilingualism. And it was very, very interesting because we saw how their being multilinguals shaped the research questions that they asked and shaped their research and led to new insights that in their research. On the other hand, the findings from their research enriched their being multilinguals, helped them with develop them as themselves as multilinguals. Not all of them used to be multilinguals before they started to do research on the topic. So the two things influenced each other. And then in more detail, in the first part yesterday morning, we looked at how multiple languages affect your life more generally. So they, speak in the first language, the second language, or more dominant, less dominant language can affect your decision making, for example, in addition to emotional distance and so on. And then later on, we had more contributions from linguistics, where we saw how linguistics can inform. So research in linguistics on multilingualism can inform language teaching, but also can be very beneficial to translators. And then later on in the afternoon, we had two key contributions where the last two speakers had complex linguistic backgrounds, and so we learned how there's majority languages, minority languages. So there's different languages that we come across in our lives, either accidentally or because we choose. We don't always choose, and all of these languages should be taken into account. So not only the mainstream official language, but we should take into account linguistic diversity in every country. Country is not a good term. Okay, I'll now pass on to Derek. Derek will tell us more about what will happen today.
Thanks very much, Francesca. So today we are going to start off with a continuation of the theme from yesterday with Thomas Bach's talk, which is our initial talk this morning, which is going to investigate practicing and investigating multilingualism. So that's a nice way of us continuing from yesterday, but also easing into today's focus. And today's focus is looking at the ways in which languages and sciences can come together. Now, this is something that the three of us feel very strongly about, and it really is the driving motivation for this project and the conferences and all the podcast series and the activities that are associated with it, because we find that there is insufficient bringing together interaction, integration of languages and science. And quite the opposite, we find that quite a lot of the time, the societal structures and attitudes towards languages and sciences place them in two different categories and make it quite difficult for people to bring languages into science and also sciences into languages. But it can be done, and it is being done in different places around the world. And the way in which it's being done can enrich science and can enrich language. I'm going to give you a very quick example before I hand over to Tim. So there is a wonderful course in North America at a liberal arts university, which I heard about, which brings together scientists, neuroscientists, and specialists in Tibetan Buddhism, who can read the Tibetan scriptures and understand Tibetan culture very well. And they look at for example, one of the topics they look at is meditation. And there is a vast amount of written work in Tibetan and other languages, of course, on meditation. And there are a lot of cultural associations and aspects of it too. And the science on meditation has begun to gather speed in recent years as well, looking at the way in which the brain can be shaped and affected by meditation and the implications of that. And so the course that I came across is co-taught by a scientist and a Tibetan cultural specialist, and they bring together their language and their science knowledge together. And the language and cultural Tibetan knowledge informs the science. It can help the science better understand what's going on. And the science can help inform and illuminate the scriptures and the practices of meditation from the Tibetan tradition. And I think that's one example, one small example, but a good example of how language and science can complement and enrich each other. And that's the spirit with which today is going to proceed. It's a rich feast that we're in store for. Over to you, Tim.
Well, thank you for that great example and actually saying what I wanted to say for me as well. That's a very innovative example, but part of the point of today is to show that there are lots of other examples already going on, and we're going to hear lots of examples about what yesterday was about sort of the science, demonstrating from a scientific point of view, the value, but today shows making a jump to engineering in a way, in how you put this into practice to improve people's lives. And you're quite right, Derek. Science and languages are often perceived as being different, but actually they are already intertwined. So it's not just a case of bringing them together, sort of ostentatiously, sort of like clearly, as we'll hear about that today, but also showing everybody how they are already, influencing each other and, helping each other, although not everybody is aware of that. Okay, so again, thank you all, everybody who's here and also, online, for making this possible, for showing that this is something that is worth talking about, that is, interesting. And